What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing and going into my experience over the last year, mostly of 2025, of competing in Brazilian Jiu-jitsu, the things that I've learned, the takeaways, lessons learned, and what have you. So just to go back a little bit, it's been about going on around 7 years since the first time I was introduced to Brazilian Jiu-jitsu, which, for any of you who aren't familiar, it's a martial art. There's two ways to practice it. There is in the gi, the traditional gi or kimono, where you're wearing it with your belt, or there is what is referred to as no gi, where you're just wearing some board short type material, shorts, and a rash guard. And that is the one that I prefer because it's just too hot out here to be wearing all that. And it's just more fun. I feel more flowy. It's not as just grab on and hold on for dear life. You can kind of flow and slip through stuff, and that's what I've spent most of my time practicing. But as far as competition-wise, I did one tournament a few years back, and I had a good experience there. I got the win by submission, so that was a fun experience. And then I didn't compete at all. I just would practice here and there. But there was at times where I didn't take it as serious as other times, but I always came back to it. And there was when I moved to the U.S. and at first I didn't have a gym there, and I was finishing up high school, so I wasn't. There's been periods where I wasn't trained at all. But then I started getting back into it because I always felt drawn back to it. One of the best things that I got from jiu-jitsu is when I first started, I remember some frustrating things in life, and just personal frustrating things that, I think anyone can deal with or has their own stuff that's going on. And jiu-jitsu felt like I started training that, and it was the perfect outlet, because you go to class, you learn a new technique, you have the coach telling you what to do. And then you get to roll, and you get to exert yourself. You get to let out this, I don't know how to put it, just oh, is that a snake? Okay, it looks like there's a snake over there. I'm gonna go see if I can grab it. Okay, so it was a snake. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there was a snake over there. So we just went and grabbed him. So that just happened. Anyways, continuing along. In my experience hey, Scar, hey, leave the snake alone. It was the perfect outlet to kind of let out this energy, frustration, and it's in a good controlled space. And it also, there's just so many good things that I got out of training jiu-jitsu. It teaches you this, you're exerting yourself, but it's in a controlled place, and you're going against people that have way more experience, way more technical experience. They've been doing it for way longer, and it forces you. Sometimes you're in uncomfortable positions. You're being, you're trying to strangle each other. You're in different limb locks, arm bars, and teaches you to stay more calm under pressure and stuff. And it's a different type of exertion compared to just lifting weights or hitting the gym or I haven't experienced anything that's the same as that. It's, training weights. I'd done different sports growing up in school. Competed in high jump, did different stuff, but nothing was the same level of where after training you feel so good. You just were pushed, challenged in so many different ways, physically, mentally. And I got a lot of good. It was it came into my life at the perfect time, and I just remember that it made everything else in life just felt way better. It felt way easier to navigate stuff. Jiu-jitsu was the perfect place where it takes your attention. You have to be fully present. When you're training, you're rolling, you're just like surfing, you have to be fully present. When you're rolling, and stuff, there's no thinking about anything else in that moment. And then, now continuing along into the competing journey, the most competing I did was last year. So the first, I did a tournament earlier in the year where, I did a tournament earlier in the year where I competed in both gi and no gi. And in the gi, I ended up winning first place. I got a submission, I got a triangle choke. So we'll throw some clips of that in there. Then I did in my no gi match, I ended up losing my first match by points. So there's a whole point system. Ideally, you get a submission. So if you get, some type of choke, strangle, some type of, there's a gazillion different submissions. And if any of you practice, you know what I'm referring to. Then you automatically win. But if the timer runs out, which in these tournaments it was about 5 minutes, then it comes down to who has more points. And you earn points, you get points by different ways of getting to a better, a better position or getting to stuff. And it's a lot to just dive into real quick, but that's the gist of it. And I lost, and then so I got to go again, and then I ended up winning my second match through a submission. I got a rear naked choke. And so that was cool. That was great. And competing is so different than just practicing or training because it's so different because there's so many more nerves. You're showing up to a new place and you're gonna go against someone who you don't know and you don't know anything about and you've never trained with. And there's a crowd of people all watching. You have friends watching, maybe family watching. And it's just like overflow of nerves, and you really, really have to bring yourself back down to stay composed, stay calm. I just tell myself, I perform under pressure. I'm fine, I'm good. I've been training, I've been practicing. This is what all the reps are for. And then really, I found what really helped me is before the match, because you're getting ready and then you're sitting on the side of the mat and before they call you out, I would basically just start meditating. I just sit there cross-legged, just focus on long deep breaths, just staying really calm and relaxed. And I found that to be the best way for me to go out there and be able to perform and do good. When I did previous times that I competed and I got too hyped up and was jumping around and stuff, then it's almost like too much. It kind of hypes you up a little too much instead of just staying calm and composed and being able to go out there and do what you need to do. And then another big thing from competing is in practice, you can kind of think. You can think about new techniques and think what you have to do. In competition, it's all automatic. Pretty much the only things that you do are the things that you've done so much and so many reps of that you just do automatically without thinking about. And honestly, so then that feeling of competing was just so good and fun, and that feeling of being uncomfortable. It's not a fully comfortable experience, competing and going up against another person who they're trying, they're going through the same thing on their end. They're nervous, they're getting hella nerves, and they want to win. They got friends watching, they got stuff on the line. So the best thing is to be more calm and composed than them, and that seems to do the trick. And then, so I did that. And then I competed again later in the year. And I did both, I did both gi and no gi. And that time in the gi, I won my first match by rear naked. And then I won the second match by points. So I ended up getting first in the gi as a blue belt. And then in the no gi, what happened? I think I lost by points again. So the good thing is I'm not being submitted, so I'm not getting choked or strangled or anything. It's really just a matter of looking back on the matches, is just some small little mistakes that I did that could have been avoided. But in just the heat of the moment, sometimes it happens. There was, maybe a because all it takes is a little thing. You turn the wrong way, you do this, boom, the position switches, and they all of a sudden have 3 or 5 points on you, and then the time runs out so quickly, boom. Before you know it, the time ran out, and that's that. But still, great learning experience. And then towards the end of last year, I did what's called a super fight. So it wasn't a tournament, it was just a one-off match with someone else. There was an event a jiu-jitsu event going on with a bunch of matches, and I reached out and was like, yo, like I'd love to compete in this. Is there anyone of the same weight and same belt that I could maybe go against? They found someone, so I went against them, and I got the win. I got the submission, rear naked choke, and got that. And every time the competing, you always get the nerves. It's just part of the game, but it's part of the fun. It's like you feel so alive and so present, and just like it's just a great, I don't know, I enjoy it so much. And so I've signed up for another tournament for next month, so just continue training, continue getting ready. But basically the biggest takeaway from this is, as uncomfortable as it is, it's one of the best things and like one of the most memorable things from like the whole year for me, in terms of like nothing else in life gives you that like those types of nerves, and like the lead up, especially like the last week and the last few days. And then another part of it is cutting weight. So I compete in 188 pounds, but I walk around at about 195 to 200. So the last week or so, I start cutting down my weight. I have to really dial in my diet, and then do like fast the last day, cut my water weight down, and just barely, and make that weigh in the day before, and then rehydrate back up, and then go compete. It is really fun because it is the jiu-jitsu community, while it is growing and big around the world, it's not massive. It's not the biggest thing ever. So especially the people that compete and go to the tournament. So you very quickly, just after a year of doing a bit of competing, I start to see the same people at the tournaments, meet the same people, run into the same people who either I'm competing against, or or other people that I've trained with, or I know they go to other gyms and they compete. And for the most part, most people are really cool, like down-to-earth people who are training and doing that. And even like the people that I've competed against, it's like, it's a tournament where we go out there, whoever may the better person in that moment win. But when it's at the end of the match, I mean, you shake hands. If I see someone that I competed against, whether I won or lost, like, it's whatever. Like, I'm gonna say hi to them. Maybe we'll train together, whatever. It's not like something where you're like, you have to be like all aggro, this tough guy, and you're like, you're not cool with anyone. It's like maybe some people are like that, but it's such a small community that you get to know very quickly through jiu-jitsu, especially here, that there's no need to be like that. So for the most part, most people are pretty cool. I've had people I go against who I lost to, and we're still cool. Like, if I see them somewhere, like, I'm gonna say what's up. It's all good. Like, if we're in the same place, like, we'll train together. There's people that I've won against, and same thing, it's all cool. Like, if I see them somewhere or we're in the same place, like, we'll probably train together, and it's very likely we'll have to go against each other in the future again, because there's only so many people that are the same weight as you, similar weight, same belt, who are willing to put themselves in competitions and compete and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's been a really fun experience thing, and then hopefully in the future can do some competing outside of Costa Rica. So maybe some competing in the US, or we'll see what the future holds. But the big takeaway is putting yourself in situations that kind of challenge you, that are a little, I don't want to just say uncomfortable, because there's good uncomfortable and there's bad uncomfortable, but good uncomfortable is like this. It's competing, and maybe for you it's not that extreme. It could just be as simple as trying out a gym for a new sport, or maybe even just going to a regular gym and just getting into like a routine of working out 3 times a week and doing some stuff. So, and I find like the biggest and best like personal growth does happen through putting yourself through that uncomfortable stuff, or even as uncomfortable as approaching a girl and breaking the ice and talking to her and seeing if there's a vibe there, and you might go out and you might end up dating. It's like a lot of the most uncomfortable things that are most uncomfortable at first, or to to go after at first have some of the biggest reward and upside on the other side of that. So if you aren't willing if you aren't willing to ever be uncomfortable or ever take those risks and stuff, you just always play it safe, stay in the comfort zone, like you're not going to go as far and like reach as what's the word I'm looking for? You're leaving possibilities on the table, and you know the discomfort of losing a tournament, the discomfort of being rejected and her not wanting to have anything to do with you, it's not as bad. And the more you just get through it, you're like, whatever, it's just another one, whatever, just keep on keeping on. And yeah, so yeah, that's all for this video. And by the way, I have a new community, the DMOS Mastermind. You can check it out, link in the description. And this community is designed for the main perks of being in there is we do weekly calls that for only people that are in the community. There's exclusive content you will only find in there, accountability. So it's a community of like-minded people, and that's one of the hard things in the world, is to find like-minded people to kind of support you and keep you on track to keep improving yourself. And the cool thing about a community like this is it doesn't matter where you live in the world. When you're in there, you're surrounded by this tribe of people that are all on the same mission. Whereas if, you know, maybe you live in some small town or some city or somewhere, and it's hard to find like-minded people or people who are trying to improve their mindset and focus on the right things and get the most out of life. So check it out, link in the description, and the first 10 people that join it are gonna get exclusive one-on-one calls and also some bonus perks in there. And the great thing is if you change your mind, you can always opt out from being in the community down the road. So join us in there, start doing more awesome stuff, and I'll see you in there. Booyah.